Let's talk about abstract thoughts. I know I have plenty. I'm standing here with Diatribe. This is a piece that I did not too long ago for Continuum 2019. And the reason I'm showing it is because I give myself a B on this one. And a lot of the things that I like to think about abstracts are close to done correctly on this one. This is one of those I'm tempted to take it off the wall, put it back on the easel, and keep working on it. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it lacks a couple things that are part of this thought process that we're talking about, and balance is one of the major ones. When it comes to value, when it comes to contrast, this does not have. It is pleasing to the eye, but it could be more pleasing to the eye. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with this stuff. So just soak that in. And I'm not sure if you agree, but maybe I'll take this back to the drawing board, otherwise known as the easel. Let's talk about this one from my past. This is called Storms Shall Pass. This was truly an experiment gone right. I was looking to try out some different media, so I picked up some earth tones of water-soluble oil. Now, they just happen to work really well with people who are used to acrylics because they stay awake, they stay wet, so the blending can continue, but not for a long time, not like traditional oil. So you can work with acrylics alongside this. So it was a nice little stepping stone to get from one media to another and see what I could pull off. This is one of those cases where the painting painted itself, so to speak. There's not a lot of hours put into this, but it did achieve what I'm always looking for and what I'm talking to you guys about, which is balance and flow, and keeping the viewer intrigued, keeping the viewer involved, not allowing them to leave the surface of the canvas too quickly and move on. So a lot of times this can just happen without a ton of thinking, without a ton of toil. No need to overthink things sometimes. So I hope this echoes with you. When you're creating abstracts, sometimes you got to just let it happen, and other times it's a battle, and that's okay. I want to talk a little bit about this abstract thought process. Seems like it could be simple. In fact, I often hear from my students, usually when they have found themselves bumping their head on a ceiling where their skill has ended because they just haven't learned past that point. And that's that's normal for all of us. There's always a ceiling. But usually when they've hit a challenge, they sometimes use abstract as an excuse or as a place where they'll take something because they think that abstract is a place to hide a lack of ability. That couldn't be further from the truth, though, and I tell them this, and it might be disheartening, but it's very, very true. A lack of skill or a lack of technique is something that can be overcome, but it's not overcome by calling something abstract or using your lack of color theory or lack of drawing skills or seeing proportion or whatever it is under this umbrella of, oh, it's abstract. You need even more of those things to achieve abstracts, in my humble opinion, because you don't have the subject matter. You don't have the focal point as an obvious element. It is something that you have to pull out of the artwork. You as the artist, you have to make it happen. You are deciding everything. The messaging, the feel, all that stuff is resting squarely on your shoulders. So abstract is a great challenge, and I urge everyone to give it a whirl. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter how high or low your ceiling is, give it a try. It's fun. It's awesome. And it's definitely a freeing thing. So go for it. I'm definitely not trying to talk you out of it. What I want to make as a point is that do not use it as a place to hide. Use it as a place to spread your wings. Let's look at some abstracts together. Here's one of the first ones I ever did. And these span quite a few years, but they have a lot of things in common. The aforementioned balance, flow. Definitely have to have passion or emotion, whatever you like to call it. Purpose. Intention. And honestly, on the technical side, they need to have color theory. You need to learn your color theory, your brush strokes, all the things that make you well-rounded as an artist, painter, still apply. All right, so to continue this discussion, I'm going to show you some video of a session. Here's my setup. That cotton t-shirt rag, ever so important. Here's the only colors I'm getting into. A Payne's gray, a white, and an umber. I'm going to be working on 3 paintings simultaneously because they're all at similar points in their life, otherwise known as almost finished. They're all a little bit different from each other, but they have similarities in that they are in my current series. So this session, for all of these, is the continuation of the push and pull, as I like to call it. This one is very close to finished, so I am down to bringing out the highest highlights and deciding which parts of this are actually going to be focal points. And that is not a one session thing. I mean, I'll need to do this, photograph it, look at it, think about it, maybe go back to it, and maybe continue that push and pull. So I started this session with the synthetic bristle brush, a flat, my preference for clean lines, as I am accentuating those. And then I moved, here in my hand now, is a natural bristle in order to get that lighting effect, that blend, that gradient. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, that is my preferred brush choice for those 2 jobs. And so now here's the still shot that I took at the end of the session. And I haven't decided yet whether I'm truly done. Let's move into the second painting. Same session, same studio session. On this one, I've decided I needed more brown, more deep brown. So I'm in that umber. And again, I've started with the synthetic brush in my hand, but I think I'm picking up the natural bristle as well, because I'm not only outlining, but I am doing some fill-in work as well. And so this is the aforementioned balance I speak of. I felt that everything was too muted. Everything was too much the same. There was no punch. There was no contrast. I was missing that flow. I hadn't truly decided where someone should look. What are the focal points? What are their eyes going to do? Where are they going to go? This is what's important when you guys are creating abstracts and dreaming them up. The beginning should be fun, should be experimental. But as you crest over the middle of that project, you need to decide things to make it effective. So here's the final shot from the session, and it's better. It's still a bit non-committal as far as where the viewer should look. There's equal highlights and there's equal darks. So I'll need to take this further in another session to really solidify the personality. One more painting on the easel for this session. It was a busy day. This one is still in beginning stages. It's actually over a painting that I was not pleased with from a previous series called Permian that I had. And I'm bringing it into the Left to Chance series by adding these swooping forms that I enjoy. And guys, this is no different. This session, this challenge is the same as it was on the other paintings, which are closer to finished, in that I am making decisions about light and dark and movement and trying to strike a balance, a visual balance. Being that this is relatively early on in its life, it's still quite busy and has a bit too much going on, but I'm still trying to let it tell me what its personality is going to be. And sometimes that's an uphill climb. Embrace that uphill climb. That's art in general, and abstracts are very much so. So here's the shot from the end of session. It was good. I added a bit more busyness, which I'll have to dial back, but headed in the right direction. I appreciate you guys watching, very much so. So let's take another look at some abstract works. Leave you with some final thoughts. Go back, watch this again. Really try to dial into thinking outside of the box, using every tool you have available, experimenting. If you look closely, you see me using not only those brushes I mentioned, but the cotton rag, various palette knives, even a large trowel was involved at some point. And these works you're looking at now were achieved in a similar fashion. So have fun painting. I'll see you next time.